So hypervigilance to me has a tinge of freeze. In my opinion, that's kind of what I see in hypervigilance is freeze, which is the flight fight state active along with the shutdown state. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, go to episode 101 and start from there. 101 through 109 is an in-depth primer on the polyvagal theory. So maybe it has hypervigilance. I think it has a bit of shutdown in there because there's some immobility. When you're hypervigilant, you're kind of, I think, frozen in place. You're stuck in place. You're aware. You're hearing things. Maybe I think of that not hearing things, but what I mean is I think of that kind of stereotypical image of the child who's like, they hear their father's keys, the abusive father's coming home, and they hear their keys outside the door. And that triggers them to be very still and frozen in place, but also really revved up like they want to run away, maybe fight. So hypervigilance to me is that. That's how I understand it. We're keenly aware of even the smallest details in the environment that are potential dangers. And I think there's a suspense in there. I think that there's a freeze element in there. Hypervigilance could have something to do with panic, maybe even rage. I could definitely see it. I think it's a bit different though. But when there's a danger, you pause, right? You're still, you're immobile, like I said. But with hypervigilance, you're stuck in that immobility. But you're also ready, definitely to run away, possibly to fight. And I think with panic, there is that immobility while highly charged up. So I think freeze, shutdown, panic can be definitely a part of this, she said, perpetual shutdown and hypervigilance. So I think panic or freeze could be a part of panic, and that could be very much intertwined with hypervigilance. Shutdown is part of freeze, so that goes together for me. But just for the sake of argument, I think that there could be an element of rage in hypervigilance. Again, it's that constant awareness of, or scanning of the environment, looking for danger. That could be someone in flight who wants to get away from the danger, but it also, I think, could be someone who is in fight, stuck fight, who is also scanning for danger, not consciously, but then they lash out at anything that they perceive to be a threat. So it's not the opposite. Well, I mean, I guess kind of the opposite in a way. One person wants to get away from it, but they're immobile. The other person is wanting to aggress upon danger, and they're sort of in this immobility, frozen, but then explosive. So all that stuff is kind of stuck inside of them. It's frozen inside of them, that anger, that rage, that fight energy. And then when they detect something as a threat, they explode instead of freezing and like getting smaller and hiding maybe, or running away or wanting to run away and then panicking. Instead, they are exploding in rage. But I think that could also have an element of hypervigilance as well. The state is being triggered. Either way, when someone's hypervigilant, they're kind of always in that immobile but scanning for danger sort of mode, I guess. And the potential to trigger that, I think, is kind of always there. And that could be, I think, a panic flavor or more of a rage flavor.